we are just living in Paul Walter Hauser's world right now. Mm-hmm. I don't recall ever in my career hearing one actor blow up as much as Paul Walter Hauser has blown up this week. In 1 week, we have learned that Paul Walter Hauser has landed the leading role in the Chris Farley biopic, that he's going to star alongside Liam Neeson in Naked Gun. And then yesterday, word dropped, Paul Walter Hauser is going to be in Fantastic Four. This comes from the folks over at Deadline who wrote the following. Paul Walter Hauser is having quite a week. That's an understatement. Being tapped for the role of Ed, Frank Drebin's partner in the untitled Naked Gun reboot from Paramount Pictures. As we were also first to report, we now hear that the actor has come aboard for Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. For now, Hauser's role in the superhero flick is under wraps, as is its plot. As previously reported, the Pic's core cast includes Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm, the Emmy-winning, I should point out, Eben Moss-Bachrach as the Thing. Most recently, Julia Garner came aboard to play Shala Ball, a version of the Silver Surfer, and now adding to that, another Emmy Award winner, Paul Walter Hauser, has come on board. We already waxed poetic yesterday about how great this guy is. I mean, for me, I mentioned this yesterday, but the point, you know what it was for me? It was I, Tonya.
Oh.
And it was a Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover kind of moment for me. Where like when we all saw Zach Galifianakis for the first time in The Hangover, we were like, okay, this guy's kind of special. That's the same feeling I had with Paul Walter Hauser when he was in that. Then he was, of course, brilliant in Black Klansman. He was even really good in Cruella. He's just great in everything he's in. And then finally, he's in Blackbird. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's Emmy worthy. And they gave him an Emmy this year. He's fantastic, and he's joining the Fantastic Four. One of the key elements to this story, though, is that they are not saying if they know, whatever, who he's going to be playing. And I have to dig up and find what I did. I don't know what I did with my pictures. I had a whole bunch of pictures on my screen and now they're all gone.
Oh, of who you thought he could be?
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I found them. They're not in the right place that they're supposed to be, but I found them. Okay. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, H.E.R.B.I.E. You know, guys, in order to start the John Campea Show, I had to leave my high-paying corporate job in order to set myself up to be happier and enjoy more personal success. Because sometimes to get what you want, you have to challenge the status quo and blaze your own trail. And that's exactly what the folks at H.E.R.B.I.E. did. You see, at H.E.R.B.I.E., they saw customers getting ripped off by questionable products in the shaving industry and decided to do something better. H.E.R.B.I.E.'s decided to pave their own road by making beautifully designed razors for a fraction of the price of the other big brands. Exceptional products, honest prices. That's H.E.R.B.I.E.'s. I have fallen in love with H.E.R.B.I.E.'s, from their foaming shaving gel that feels just luxurious on the skin to their incredible razor that feels just as good in the hand as it does going over your skin. They've got rich, lathering, skin-softening body wash in scents like redwood, wildlands, and stone. You see, H.E.R.B.I.E.'s provides German-engineered blades made in their own factory that stay sharp longer. You can get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. Don't settle for the status quo. Blaze your own trail with H.E.R.B.I.E.'s. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. That's harrys.com/Campea for a $3 trial set. I'm going to throw out 5 characters that Paul Walter Hauser could be playing in Fantastic Four. And I'm going to start on what I consider to be the least likely, but these are the names being thrown around, up to the one I actually think it will be. But then I want to hear from each of you guys on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely you think he will be this character. If we are ready, here we go.
All right.
The first character that you're hearing a lot of people talk about, not a lot of people believe he's going to be it, but people are talking about it, is Doctor Doom. Obviously, that's a character everybody is waiting to hear about who's going to be cast to play one of, if not the greatest villains in comic book history, Doctor Doom. So now you hear this Emmy winning actor coming in, some thoughts that it could be Doctor Doom. I don't personally think it will be, but Chris, let's start with you. Scale 1 to 10 that Paul Walter Hauser's playing Doctor Doom.
1 being the least likely?
1 being the least likely.
A 1.
A 1. Okay,
A
so
1.
no chance that that's
He
going to happen.
gives great villain, but Doom is a different kind of villain than who he plays, because he also can play charming and affable nitwit in such a beautiful way. And I think Doom honestly would be kind of a waste for him. He's a great character, but he's not a Paul Walter Hauser character.
Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, Chris. 1. If I could say 0, I'll say 0.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ray's going on the 1. Jonathan?
I'll say 2 just because things can come out of left field.
That's fair.
Yep, true. Okay, so that's the first one there is Doctor Doom. All right, the next one up, a character that a lot of people assume we're going to see, and now you got an Emmy-winning actor, maybe it's that, and that is the very famous character, Galactus. Paul Walter Hauser saying, I've come to eat your planet. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that is a line of dialogue directly from Fantastic Four.
It's his most famous quote.
I'll say this, I think it's more likely that he plays Galactus than Doom. I would personally give it a 3, maybe at best. Chris, what do you think?
I don't honestly go with like a 4 on that one. He's got a great voice. And
He
I think
does
that's the
have a
big
great
thing
voice.
with Galactus. I think it has to have that kind of Dormammu level. And I think he would be able to deliver that kind of performance.
Ray, what do you think?
I'll go 2. I agree with Chris's points, but I just don't see it.
Don't see it? Okay, Voiko?
4.
Going as high as 4. All right. So that's Doctor Doom. Now we're getting into the scope that I think is a little bit more likely. There's actually a name out there that a lot of people are instantly jumping at that I don't actually think, but it's got to be talked about. And a lot of people seem to think, maybe because of his physical prowess, Mole Man.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking Mole Man. And I'll tell you what, here's the biggest argument to go for Mole Man. We saw in that poster that clearly Fantastic Four is not starting on Earth 616. It's a different world. And
Now
I
the
don't
theme
think
song
Mole
in my
Man
head.
at all works in our Marvel Cinematic Universe. But in that universe, maybe a little bit more. I will go as high as a 6. I will go as high as a 6. Chris, what do you think the chances Paul Walter Hauser's playing Mole Man?
I feel like it's a 5 just because him showing up feels a little bit like the Incredibles having Underminer. It is now you
That's
who
all
are beneath me.
That is all. Whenever anybody brings up Mole Man now, I don't think Mole Man. I think John Rassenberger doing the voice
Yeah.
of the Underminer. The Underminer. What does he say? I may live beneath you, but nothing is beneath me.
Yeah.
Is one of the greatest lines ever in a Pixar film.
And it makes sense for that kind of, we are doing the more kitschy throwback 1960s, 1970s kind of Fantastic Four. But again, I feel like that's maybe more of a cameo. And why would you use a great actor like this for a quick little blurb? Marvel has done that before, though. So
Yeah,
sure.
that could happen.
John Krasinski.
Exactly.
Ray,
I'll go with 7.
you're going to go as high as 7
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Jonathan?
I was going to go 7. I feel like it's too eager, so I'm going to go 6.
It's too eager.
I don't want them to think I want it too
Yeah.
much.
All right,
Well,
so
look,
that's right.
that's pretty Hollywood.
I think I'll go as high as a 6 on that one too. Okay, that was Mole Man. The next character I've got up, I think has a better chance. He was a villain. He's an OG villain for them. Puppet Master.
Ooh.
Puppet Master. Now, a lot of you may not have heard of Puppet Master. He's not exactly in the pantheon of the greats. But, he played with some contaminated clay as a kid, gets some powers, can control people, hence Puppet Master. If I'm not mistaken, his stepdaughter has a romantic relationship with Ben Grimm. At any rate, Puppet Master, it does something that I think Kevin Feige likes to do, which is to dig a little deep, go a little deeper in that. Puppet Master is not a physical combat kind of person. I'm going to go as high as a 7. I think Puppet Masters is a real option here, so I'm going to go for a 7. Chris, what do you think?
That's a fun one to bring up. Yeah, I could see that. I'd go like 6 or 7 on that.
6 or 7 on that
that's
one.
A deep dive.
So would you say more? Because I can't remember what number you gave Mole Man. Would you say more or less likely than Mole Man?
More likely.
You're going to say more likely
Yeah.
than Mole Man. Voiko, what about you?
7.
You're going to go size 7, Ray?
6.
6. All right.
Below Mole Man.
You're going to go below Mole
Yeah.
Man on that. Okay. So that brings me to the one that I'm not saying this is who it's going to be, but I think is the most fascinating for him to play. And I'll actually give the highest chances. And that is maybe a character some of you haven't heard of, maybe some of you have. It's a character known as the Maker. The Maker is an alternate universe's, for lack of a better description, he's another universe's Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Reed Richards where things with the Fantastic Four didn't go as planned. His proposal to Sue Storm got rejected. And he became one of the most horrific villains in the MCU. He was in the Ultimate Marvel's universe. And came over to the 616 actually to meet our Reed Richards to try to solve a rather large problem that was heading Earth's way. But I think now we've already seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for those of you who might be saying, but wait a minute, he doesn't look anything like Pedro Pascal. We've already seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that alternate universes versions of other characters don't have to look anything like,
Yeah.
right? They
Isn't
don't
that
have to
just
look.
isn't it just Nexus characters who are the same across? Is that how the
No, not just Nexus.
necessarily.
No, we've seen a lot of the characters that do look the same. I mean, the Spider-Men looked
Yeah.
completely different from each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, in Loki, we saw some Lokis look alike. Some Lokis are alligators. I mean, so
Little baby
So the
alligators.
look of him isn't really all that important, but the notion of it's kind of a reflection of what if Reed Richards goes bad, the most brilliant mind in the universe with superpowers, and he decides he's going to be a bad guy. Of course, like many great bad guys, he sees himself as the hero. But I think the Maker, considering this is a multiverse saga we're living in, and we're already going to another alternate universe, I think the Maker is a very compelling thing. Would I have picked Paul Walter Hauser if they had asked me, John, we're casting the Maker? Would I have picked Paul Walter Hauser? It's probably not the way I would have thought, but I still think he could do it, and I think he would be great at it. So I'm going to say the Maker, and I'm going to say an 8.
Ooh.
I'm going to say an 8 for the Maker.
bold.
Anyway, Chris, what about you?
2.
2? You don't see it
yeah.
at all.
I completely understand your reasoning for an actor of this caliber doing this. I 100% understand it. And because of the way the multiverse works, it could be anyone. But I already think that we've seen this character. I'll get into that later with you guys. But I think, and this is a stunt casting thing too, I think to play the opposite of Pedro, you either have him play the Breaking Bad version of himself, or you bring in somebody like Oscar Isaac, who, like, I know he's already Moon Knight, but you play with somebody who, like, Oscar has, or who Pedro has a relationship with in real life, who I think is a fun kind of twist on it. I think something more akin to that is what's going to end up happening, or he's just going to play that version, because I think that is a character that is most effective when the doppelganger, when the multiverse other looks exactly like him. So you have Reed Richards and the horrifying, horrible version of him as the same actor, because in the comics, right? Even though we have the Maker, Reed also often makes horrible decisions. He makes terrible decisions that he thinks are for the benefit of mankind.
Yeah.
And we see him slowly dissolve into kind of madness and evil ultimately. So I think it's more interesting if he plays the same character across those.
Ray?
I'll give it a 3. I
Oh,
know-
so you're not seeing it either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going 3 as well. I also feel like it's I mean, this is our first outing, and to all of a sudden have here's your doppelganger that with a huge backstory as well. I think it's too early to bring him in. I love the character.
Yeah.
I just think the first outing, no.
Well, see, this is why I don't mind the idea of the first outing, because if they're going to build up to any villain, it ain't going to be Maker. They're going to build up to Doctor Doom. That's why I don't think, that's one of the other reasons I don't think it's going to be Doctor Doom. So I don't know, man. I look at this guy as evil. I don't know. We'll see.
You don't
Guys,
have Molecule Man on your thing?
Nah, that's
That's a
getting
science.
Molecule Man is like, that's a Secret Wars thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's leaning towards.
I mean,
Secret
that's
Wars.
like way too big. I mean, that's universe ending kind of thing. Right?
My one caveat too is like, because you bring up, well, they're going to lead up to Doom, but the whole time I was thinking, Reed's going to have to team up with Doom to fight his doppelganger.
Yeah.
So that's after Doom.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that could go into. And by the way, I mean, the maker has a role leading into Secret Wars. So depending on how much they follow the comics.
3.
I'm so surprised we've seen a character though already that has not been named, that has not been introduced in that first promo image.
All right.
We've seen H.E.R.B.I.E. We've seen their robot butler.
Yeah.
I think that's who he's gonna be.
You think he's gonna be the voice of the robot?
yeah.
butler?
I never even thought of
Oh,
that.
he could be. He could
I
totally
think he's
be
gonna do
he
that.
totally
like a
that
voice or
one.
something.
And I know the chat was also saying that too, and that was my first thought, was just like, I'd give it a 9. I'd be like, yeah, he's gonna be
Yeah.
H.E.R.B.I.E. Or even the mailman. I know that was Stan Lee, and so maybe they try to preserve
to your
that. But
point that you brought up a little bit earlier, Chris, when you were talking about Mole Man and you thought it's not going to be that big of a role, it's like, do you really take an Emmy winner and bring him into play? Do you really get Paul Walter Hauser to come in and do the voice of H.E.R.B.I.E?
well, look at what happened with Vision, though. What if we do
but
something
Paul
that
Bettany's
builds up?
career was in a very different place.
Fair.
Well, what
when he
about
became the voice of that.
Rocket?
Yeah, that's
Well,
true. That's Bradley
that's-
Cooper. Yeah.
If you got Bradley Cooper doing the voice of Rocket.
I think
That's a great
here's
point.
the thing.
Yeah.
His career is blowing up, but let's not act like he's the biggest actor of all time suddenly. Like
No.
it's
This is very
just
true.
begun.
Yeah.
And the movies haven't even been produced yet.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And this rise is very well earned. But yeah, I don't know if he is a household name the same way a Bradley
Yeah,
Cooper might be.
that's
If
a
I
good
ask my
point.
mom who Paul is, she's gonna go, huh? And
Well,
then I have to list his credits.
Let me ask you guys this though. Okay, so those are just some names I threw out there, right? Are there, I mean, some people are thinking Annihilus, something like other Negative Zone kind of thing, but is there
Ooh.
any other character that maybe I should have on this list?
I'm stuck on H.E.R.B.I.E. now.
The
I can't not want.
The other name that I saw being thrown around was Willie Lumpkin, I think his name, the mailman, who is like a character in the comics and everything. And again, in the movies, that was Stan Lee, so I don't know if they'd recast, even though, again, it's a cameo. And I don't know really what you do with the mailman character.
Yeah, no mailman for
But-
him. I don't think so.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, I honestly can't remember the last time any actor has had 1 week as big as Paul Walter Hauser has had this week with all these announcements. What do you think about him joining the Fantastic Four? Who do you think he's going to play? Do you like any of the picks that we had? Maybe there's some other names that you have that we didn't mention. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.